This video is dedicated to all the handsome Korean manhwa tops with big milkies. And if you are watching this video, it's because you also wanna draw beautiful men with beautiful big ass juicy milkies. Let's now start by studying the anatomy of male titties. The first thing I recommend you to do is to have some references ready. Because of the specific topic we are dealing right now, I recommend you to take references from Lessing, Twitter, X. Those places are the ones that have the best references for this topic. And please gather more than one reference because practice makes perfection, and to be perfect you obviously need more than one reference. Personally, my references are two from Twitter. One is a real picture, the other one is from an artist, and the other reference I took it from Lessing. So the first thing we're going to do is to do an art study of the titties of our references. And for that, we are going to start by simplifying the torsos of our references into geometrical figures. I personally believe that male torsos are very easy to simplify. I like to divide it into 3 rectangles and then a line in the middle. After I simplify the overall shape of the torso, I simplify the titties. And that's also what I recommend you to do. Don't struggle by trying to simplify everything at once. Once you finish one shape, then you can jump to the other. And now that we finished the shapes of the torso, we can jump to draw the titties shapes. I like to simplify big male titties as if they were 2 pillows. Kind of like 2 chubby squares. After simplifying our references, we are going to hide our original references and we are only going to keep our simplified figures. In our next step, although we are still going to use our references as a guide, I really don't recommend you to trace directly from them. Instead, what I recommend you to do is to open our original male references in another screen and look at them as you draw the male anatomy instead of tracing directly from them. After simplifying the anatomy into these geometrical figures, I'm going to jump ahead and start drawing the line art. But if you are really not that confident with your anatomy, I really recommend you to do a second sketch before starting with the line art. The only reason why I'm pretty confident about my line art is because I have over 10 years of experience drawing hot men. So I'm quite used to the male anatomy. But for me to get used to drawing male anatomy, it took me a lot of sketches, a lot of sweat, a lot of blood. So I really recommend you to not jump straight to the line art and try to do a second sketch beforehand. I also know that I'm going to be getting a lot of comments asking me about which pen am I using to draw the line art. And guys, this is the normal G pen that Clip Studio has, like the default one. The only thing that I'm doing differently is that I am playing with the pen pressure as I am drawing. This line art is heavily inspired on Pakisum's style. I hope I'm not butchering her name or their name, but I'm always butchering English words, so I'm of course going to butcher Korean words and names as well, and I apologize for that. But she's the creator of Lost in the Cloud, and she's well known first for her masterpiece of a story, and secondly for her beautiful line art and coloring. If you haven't read Lost in the Cloud, like, what are you doing? Go and read it, because you are missing from a masterpiece. Like, even if you don't like BL, you need to read Lost in the Cloud. Like, it's a masterpiece of a plot, story, and art. So my line art, it's very inspired on her line art, but I know that still our styles differ quite a bit. And I can go more in depth in another video, but that's a quick advice that I give you to create your own unique art style. It's like, in order to create a new thing, you need to take inspiration and ideas from many other things. Study your favorite artist and take a specific thing that you like from them and use it in your art style, and then add your own touch. And that's how a new art style is created. You can never create anything from zero, everything needs an inspiration. Okay, going back to our tutorial, if you notice, I'm not only doing the line art, but I'm also doing some shadowing. I recommend you to practice your shading as you do this exercise because like for me, rendering male torsos, it's like so hard. And that's why every time I'm doing an art practice, I try to shade them so I can keep improving my way of rendering male torsos. Okay, so now that this art practice is complete, let's jump ahead and try to create something for ourselves. For this practice, I used one of my previous references, which is the one with the real human picture. And I used that one because I really like the angle, so I wanted to practice that angle a little bit more. Especially because I'm always struggling with this type of dynamic angles, which is such a shame because I really like to draw them. As you can see, I'm starting by simplifying everything, as I mentioned previously, and once I simplified all the shapes, I jumped to the second layer. This time, I'm not going to go straight to the line art, but I'm going to create a second sketch layer. And I'm doing that because I really like to practice dynamic angles, and I want to make sure I'm doing a good job at practicing them. I don't know if you have noticed, but for this drawing, I'm using a second reference, which I'm taking from my favorite or one of my favorite Korean manhwas, Down of the Dragon. And I'm drawing one of the best tops of all times, Un. Once again, I'm really sorry if I'm butchering these words. Going back to my conversation of Down of the Dragon, I really think that Un, it's one of the best tops, not only in BL history, in Korean BL history, but in BL history as a whole. He's not only a green flag, but the whole green forest. This manhwa doesn't only have one of the best tops of all BL history, but also one of the best bottoms. I know this is the second BL recommendation that I'm giving you in this video, but if you haven't read Dawn of the Dragon, please go to Lesson and read it right now because it is an amazing story. And this video is not sponsored. Nobody's paying me to say this. I'm saying this because I really truly believe that. Okay, going back to the drawing, I'm almost about to finish the line art. And if I'm honest with you, I wasn't planning to color this drawing, but I really wanted to give you a good tutorial. And if I wanted to give you a good tutorial, I should teach you not only how to draw male milkies, but also how to color and render them. So there are many types of rendering techniques, but right now I'm going to teach you an easy one. With this technique, we are going to start only with grayscale. So we're going to start the shading and lining process only by using achromatic colors. And we are going to do that so we can only focus about the shape of the shadows without worrying about the colors and lining. So once you finish the shadow patterns, we can start adding some color. I don't know if you can see it, but the way that I'm coloring my drawing is by selecting each of the parts of the drawing and coloring them using an overlay layer. After the overlay layer, I keep the selection, then I add a gradient with the color that I want. As you can see when I'm drawing, I'm using a lot of references. I'm saying this because there are many people that like to shame artists for using references, but that is the most important thing you need. Like, if you don't use references, I don't think you will be able to improve your art. And it is very important to use your references as you draw. In the description of this video, I'm going to name all the artists that I took references from. Okay, going back to the drawing, once I add the gradients, it's still looking a little bit gray. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to add more color over the gradient layer. And here, I recommend you to try to experiment with multiply layers, with color burn layers, with normal layers. Like, just experiment with a bunch of layers, even glow layers, until you get the result that you have in your mind and you are wishing for. And this is practically the whole rendering process. There is no secret, there is nothing else. It's just a lot of practice. So I'm going to jump ahead to the final result.